Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, and we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin charts on the 4 hour. So yesterday we have had a very nice move up. As you can see, fully taken out this resistance level of the 35 to 36k range. Almost got to the next level of around 38k before easing off that level. So it's obviously okay for us to ease off this level, see if we can come back down, get supported anywhere obviously within, let's just straighten this out, anywhere within this 35 to 36k range. Obviously then ideally get supported there, and then try and make a move to take out the 38-39k range. So yeah, we did kind of say this yesterday after this pushback down towards the very bottom side support of around 30k. Once we got back above this level here, above this resistance, it was looking good for a potential move back to the top of the range. So we've got about half that way so far. Obviously the top of the range been pretty much 41k, 41 to 42,000. So that could be what we are going for now. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a straight line all the way up. It may be similar to the price action we had here, where you can see we moved up, obviously pulled back, and then moved back up again in textbook meandering price action. So yeah, maybe that's what we're about to see. Maybe we're about to see a pullback anywhere into this 35-36k range. Get ourselves above 39,000, and then, well, it will just be a stone's throw into this resistance, at which point I wouldn't expect this to break straight away, if at all, on this pass. I do still think it is highly likely we trade sideways within this wider range, wider 30 to 42,000 dollar range, for a prolonged period, and that is not obviously the worst thing. The worst thing is if we lose 30,000, but if we stay in here, especially if we do manage to maintain this $30,000 level, which, as you can see, from the 42 to 30,000k wider range, it is the midpoint. So basically, if we hold basically upper half of this wider range, then we are certainly setting ourselves up for a better potential outcome, i.e. upside price action above 42, than we would be looking at if we start to dwell basically below 35, in the 35 to 30,000 dollar range. I mean, it kind of goes without saying, it's kind of obvious, but yeah, we do want to see basically enough buy pressure, enough support from the bulls to hold us above 36k, trade in this top half, and ultimately have a go at breaking above, and then attempting to go bullish onto new highs. But even if we just get a bull trap somewhere, anywhere up to around 50k, it will give us a very easy out, a very easy exit of the crypto market, of our bull positions, and then we can wait a year or so for the next bull market. But anyway, Ethereum, Bitcoin, if we have a look at that, see how that is doing at the moment. Ethereum, Bitcoin, and basically pretty much sold off a 4-hour 9. It's come back down to a 4-hour 9. So yeah, you can see obviously weakness. This is basically the opposite of how I was saying it was looking good, that altcoins, but Ethereum itself in particular, even though Bitcoin was coming down, was still holding its own relative to Bitcoin, because that is an indication that there isn't as much fear in the market. But as you can see, this is now indicating that obviously people are selling out of it, at least Ethereum, into Bitcoin, and yeah, I mean, that is the first step of a risk off, and then you sell out of Bitcoin into fiat. But yeah, it could just be a healthy pullback. It could just be, we'd have to watch it. Obviously very much looking like an ascending wedge. So it could still definitely come back lower. Obviously we've got this trend line, we've got this horizontal, but yeah, Ethereum obviously has been looking very strong, as we have noted in Bitcoin's pullback, has looked very strong. And yeah, so obviously it's now having a pullback. If we have a look at also the Bitcoin dominance, as you can see, also having that pullback up as well, which, as you can see, as Bitcoin was coming down, we did pretty much altcoins weren't doing that badly, but as you can see now they are having a bit of a pullback. So again on a 409, so maybe we could now see some potential sideways in the Bitcoin price, maybe in this range here. In this, maybe we do basically hold this, say, $36,000 to $38,000 range for a day or so, and we do have some sort of mini altcoin rally pullback in the dominance during that period. So yeah, look out for that. The 10-year drifting down a bit, as you can see here. 10-year drifting lower to our important level, our range, our low end of our range. So this could start to get interesting and impactful on the markets if we do lose this level and start to come down here. I basically have been thinking anywhere but in this range. I mean, it's kind of like it's not really drawing any attention to itself, but as soon as it moves out, it could start to impact the market. It is actually difficult to say which direction it impacts it in. There's various variables, various inputs into this, and then obviously result in impacting the market in a certain way. But nonetheless, it will now has the potential to have an impact if it comes below this level. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. The dollar index also, I mean, this is also within this smaller range here, but this is looking like a bear flag. But obviously it can still pop up higher. I mean, even as high as into these 91s and then get rejected. I mean, even back into this level here and get rejected. But ultimately, I think well, I don't like to say the consensus that this is coming lower, because obviously then that usually, not usually, but then can often not happen just once all the market thinks a certain thing is going to happen. But at the end of the day, the market is probably, a lot of people have been expecting this to come down pretty quickly, and it hasn't. It's holding up, so maybe that is as bullish as it can get. I mean, this is maybe similar to how when we were looking at Bitcoin around this level, we couldn't get off basically this level, and then so we eventually did drop, but obviously there was a fight put up there, but wasn't the strength, and then we dropped. I mean, maybe that's kind of what we're seeing here, a fight being put up here, but there's not enough strength to push us off, and eventually their bulls will capitulate, the dollar bulls will capitulate. So yeah, keep an eye on that, because that is what we want, because we need Bitcoin needs all the help it can get, and that will certainly be a help for the Bitcoin price. Stock market is basically just coiling up, holding up there, they are basically waiting for a move. I mean, yes, we've had a move up to these levels, we've had a nice pullback, we found ourselves back up here. The trend is your friend. We don't really believe in double tops. Normally, new highs basically give us new highs. So realistically, you have to give this the nod to the upside. So that obviously would be bullish for. Would be a potential tailwind for Bitcoin, also for crypto just generally. But yeah, let's have a look at the stochastics, see how they're doing. Obviously we had some of these mid-range ones that we were looking at, obviously with price action getting up to roughly where we are now, to start to actually look good, they can really grab a hold of price action now, potentially get us up to that 42k level, and then hold us in that 40, or hold us basically around that level, around, well, let me just show you again, around this, basically between 42 and 39. If you can hold us up here, and that certainly hold us in the top half, then we will be looking good. But I think the stochastics are gonna have a good chance of that. Obviously 4 hours obviously on this move has got a bit extended, so that is obviously due a pullback, but like I said, we can get into that 38 and then hold basically below there whilst this bullishly resets. But the 10 hour, our daily wait for the 10 hour to load. The 10 hours, you can see, is nicely moving up and it's got plenty of room to run. So this is going to be obviously going to be helping us as of now. 12 hours, well, move back up, starting to move back up. Obviously got plenty of room to run. Does need to get into the bullish half, but is obviously making good moves for us. Daily as well, turning back up. So if this obviously turns back up and gets to the bullish half, like I said, I'm not necessarily saying we're just going to basically break straight out of 42 into the mid 40Ks, 50Ks, but there is clearly a lot of bearish sentiment. We are in a downtrend. We have had a massive move down. Basically, what I think would be a good scenario for the bulls is just, even if these stochastics can hold us basically around 40k, and then ultimately consolidate sideways. Well, sideways consolidate, obviously. there is no other kind, but consolidate and then break our way through. But yeah, like I said, daily can obviously help us with that as well. And then the 2 daily, well, 2 daily turning back up from a low level, 3 day turning, well, going to potentially turn back up from a low level. These can eventually get going. I mean, if these gets going, that's when these are going to be the ones that decide whether we ultimately end up with a bull trap, or whether we have the power and momentum to get us through to new all-time highs. So yeah, in the short term, things are clearly looking a lot better. We've put in a second potential strong bottom. This was price action did close a lot more candles lower this time, so it did have time to think about whether it wanted to try and push lower, and it wasn't able to, and we did significantly bounce off this level. So yeah, I'm expecting the top of the range, and then potentially we can hold the top half of this wider range, maybe even the top half of the wider range above 39,000, potentially trade sideways again, and then ultimately try and push back into this zone here. I do think once we get above 42,000 that there will be a lot more confidence come back in the market. Price action will move a lot more freely. We'll probably move up and down, pullback, and within these ranges a lot more. Yeah, there's potential for big moves up. And then obviously big retraces, and then more big moves up. I do think price action will sort of have its shackles released above 42,000, providing that is what happens. And then similarly to the downside, if we break below 30, we'll have wild action to the downside, wild bounces, more action to the downside. But at the moment, you have to kind of think, well, we're aiming for the top of here. Stochastics are going to turn around. Trend is going to turn around and help us. We have consolidated for a certain amount of time, so we have got a chance of getting back into here, or if not sideways and back into here. So yeah, that is it, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.